Everybody, hello everyone.
Namaste. Gurudev. Namaste. Gurudev, namaskar. Though I can't see you, I can hear you.
Can you see me now?
We can see you,
सब सब
Gurudev.
सब सबका लगाओ उसमें भाई, स्क्रीन में सबका लगाओ. Most powerful women of the country, of the world now today are here. That's very nice to talk to you all on a subject which is of utmost importance today. Very nice. स्मृति जी, हाउ आर यू? कैसे हो आप? स्मृति जी, हाँ
प्रणाम गुरुदेव.
हाँ, कैसे हैं आप?
मैं उतनी ही अच्छी हूँ जितना एक गुरु के साथ हो सकती.
बहुत अच्छा, वेरी नाइस. Catherine Clark, how are you? Catherine. Catherine, I think you have to unmute your mic. Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Ah, I can hear you now. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good.
She's Angela.
Very good. Fabiana
Great.
and Turid,
So yes.
Dr. Angela.
Hello, I don't speak English, sorry.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
So Paula will be translating.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, we'll begin. Kavita, we can go ahead now.
Yes,
Yes, Gurudev. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our distinguished panelists and viewers all around the globe. Welcome to the first live online International Women's Conference, Humanity Against International Terrorism, Intimate Terrorism. We have with us a very erudite panel of speakers, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, spiritual master and global humanitarian and founder of the Art of Living. We have with us Srimati Bhanumati Narasimhan, who's the chairperson of the International Women's Conference and leads the Art of Living, women welfare and child development programs. This conference is being held to call to attention the alarming increase in domestic violence during the pandemic lockdowns. It is estimated that domestic violence has increased by 30 to 60%, and there is a great fear that we may lose the gains that we have made with regard to gender equality in the last 25 years. Our distinct panelists for today are Honorable Smriti Irani ji, the Union Cabinet Minister in the Government of India, who holds two portfolios, Women and Child Development and Textiles. We have with us from America the Honorable Catherine Clark, U.S. Representative for Massachusetts 5th Congressional District, and she is also the Vice Chair of the House Democratic Caucus. We have with us the Honorable Fabiana Tunez, former President of the National Women's Institute of Argentina. We have with us Professor Angela Atta from Ghana, who is the chairperson of the Psych Council. And we have with us Ms. Turid Elizabeth Solvang, founder and CEO of the Future Board from Norway. May I now request our chairperson, Srimati Bhanumati Narasimhan, to please address.
Thank you, Kavita. I'm grateful for all the women leaders who have joined this very important conversation. We have leaders from Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, and South America together with us today. And we also have viewers from 145 countries. They're all with us. So here we all have one clear message, that is domestic violence of any sort, whether it is physical or mental, against women and children is completely unacceptable. And it has to be stopped and prevented because the numbers and statistics are alarming. And the worldwide, now it is increasing during the lockdown. It's a huge challenge to society. Gurudev, when I heard the a term that intimate terrorism, I was really in shock. And this is the time we all from IWC International Women's Conference, we all decided that we have to do something about it. It is like a wake up call for all of us. And we wanted, this is a platform which really we wanted to sensitize and make aware people about this terrible crime. I know that domestic violence happens because of various factors, including underlying mental conditions like anger, aggression, stress, anxiety, and fear, all of which have been, in fact, made worse during these unprecedented times. So, what are the solutions? Maybe some solutions we can look about. We have to find these solutions. And as Gurudev says, a stress-free society only can be a violent-free society. And for close 4 decades, in fact, under the able guidance, you know, uh, of Gurudev and keeping his vision, Art of Living have been helping individuals to better manage their thoughts and emotions through meditation, breath work. In fact, all these things address the root cause, no root, which is for negative behavior and all this. It really eradicates to help to maintain this. And also, this is this is one of the approach we have been having. Um, in fact, we have a lot more to do and we have a lot more to learn from all of you, all the eminent leaders now. I thank you all once again for coming, joining this conversation, and I look forward to learning your thoughts and solutions to create a safe, sane, and secure and harmonious society. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bhanudidi, for your address. I now request the Honorable Smriti Irani ji to please address us. She is a much admired and respected cabinet minister, a strong advocate for the rights of women and children. Her first legislative initiative as a minister was to amend the Act for Protection of Children from Sexual Offences by putting in place strict deterrents which would prevent these kind of offences. May I request you, ma'am, to please address us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kavita ji. Pranam Guruji. Today I'm delighted that I've been brought to this panel for a specific reason. And with Guruji's grace, I have always had permission to disagree on certain points. And that is why I'll begin with a notion of disagreement. Kavita ji, in your introductory remarks, you call this intimate terrorism. And I think we do a great disservice to the victims of terrorism when we use that nomenclature to highlight the challenges of domestic violence, which in itself is an aspect that has been seriously viewed societally, legally, and from police and administrative perspectives. Hence, let's call domestic violence what it is. I think that the panic today is on the basis of estimates and statistics. And what we need to remind us is that do we do a great disservice to those who are on the field right now, who are ensuring that in these trying times, they have control of law and order situation across the country by telling them that there is 60% rise as per estimation and no valid proof, so that we add their misery. And why do I say this? We had a lockdown on the 23rd of March, which was announced. Since then, in every district of our country, there is a one-stop crisis center which is functioning to support women. Close to 32 helplines are working across all states in the country. We have ensured that Hands, which is the previous institution in our country to provide psychological counseling, is now available to every district in terms of a helpline. We have had on the 8th of April,
क्या हो गया भाई? क्या हो गया?
sorry, I lost the contact. I'm back. Hopefully, everybody can hear me. I, for one, would also appreciate not only the state governments and district administrations of issue very, very seriously. And I would like to offer a number, which is a real number, which is comes all helplines and the National Commission for Women, which is also running a special WhatsApp number. Since 23rd of March, we have had 199 cases which has come to the fore with regards to domestic violence. And of this, 40 have been received on WhatsApp, which can be authenticated by the police and the district administration. Is it sorry, should I take solace from the fact that in a country of 130 crore people, in the past close to 1 month, only 199 complaints have come? No, I should not. There should not be even one case. But does that belie in some way essence which is they are emotionally making us have only about they can help through the art of living. India allergy. Now our social scientists and we asked to study the impact of family values and associations who are ensuring that women who are currently in a lockdown situation are protected, are valued, are respected, and the thrust of violent acts against them in our community please come to a standstill. So that is a study that I have commissioned as of today. And I'm hopeful that with leaders and thought leaders like Gurudev, we can instill that respect even through sessions that he does through the Art of Living Family. But yes, I think we'll be extremely responsible when we highlight the fact, let's not spread panic on the basis of estimations. Let's get hard facts for us to work on solutions. I've had a similar experience in protection of children as well with the Nobel Prize winner Kailak Satyarthi ji. He was in receipt of an estimate and a report, and he was very concerned, but there were no specifics for is a crime which is reported. Can you allow the administration to ensure the help reaches you? And as a community, if we can facilitate that, I think we can stand greater support to women at home, right?
Thank you so much for your address, Honorable Minister. I think we take your point that there's no point in spreading panic and that we do need to have more staff. And it's just that there have been reports internationally about domestic violence being on the increase, and maybe
Kavitaji, let me add a rider. I have been in conversation with UN Women. Let me just add a rider. I have been in conversation with UN Women, which projected this estimation during the lockdown, just when the lockdown had started. And even the representatives that I am in conversation with, they admit that these are statistical probabilities. We should be grateful that in our country, those statistical probabilities not come true. And how can we work to ensure even the 199 case does not happen? I think is the endeavor that we can all be part of.
absolutely, I think we can maybe index in this. So if there is an increase in domestic violence elsewhere, we can share and we can make sure that it doesn't happen. Thank you so much for your address, ma'am. I would now like to thank you. The Honorable Catherine Clark to please address us. She's, as I said, the United States representative for Massachusetts 5th Congressional District and vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus. She has introduced legislation to protect victims of domestic violence, victims of sexual assault, stalking, dating violence, and also for those who have been caused emotional or psychological trauma because of violence to their pets. Ma'am, I invite you to please address us.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you to the International Women's Conference, to my colleagues and sisters around the globe, and to Gurudev, Sri Ravi Shankar, for always bringing us together in the spirit of love and nonviolence. We are seeing an alarming increase in the reports of domestic violence throughout the country. Here in my district, which you can see on the lovely screen behind me, I am not actually standing in the middle of the Charles River, I want you to know, but we are seeing a 22% increase in reported domestic violence, and those numbers are repeated throughout the United States. In Seattle, in Houston, in Chicago, we are seeing very similar increases. And we know that the problem is bigger than what we're seeing because it is often unreported, even in times like this. And the research has showed us that the set of circumstances that we're dealing with during this pandemic make the likelihood of domestic violence occurring significantly greater. We know that in times of crisis, economic stress and job loss all tend to increase the rates of violence. And combined with stay-at-home orders and other forms of enforced social isolation, these factors become even more acute. In March, the National Domestic Violence Hotline said that over 1,700 callers reported their abusive partners were leveraging the virus to further isolate, coerce, and increase fear in their relationships. And the inability of victims to be able to seek physical safety, to physically distance themselves, only increases the odds of this abuse occurring. And we're seeing significant reporting of women not knowing how to get out of these situations in this very unusual and challenging time. In addition, our traditional safety nets that we have in the United States for victims of abuse are nonprofit organizations that provide assistance to survivors, are also facing their own pandemic-induced challenges, from a reduction in volunteers to man hotlines and to do outreach to fundraising, even to the incorrect perception that they are no longer providing services. All of these challenges are presenting additional barriers for victims seeking recovery and assistance. And one particularly troubling aspect of the crisis in the United States is that since the pandemic hit hit, and we saw stay-at-home orders going into place in different states. Firearm sales have increased 300% in just 3 weeks into this crisis. And governments across the country, including the federal government, have deemed gun stores essential. So even in communities subject to stay-at-home orders, many abusers are still able to gain access and purchase firearms. And as we know, access to firearms significantly increases the risk that a domestic violence incident will turn deadly. So what are our solutions? Congress has taken actions in response to this pandemic that have been primarily focused on helping Americans weather the economic storm and supporting our frontline healthcare responders, and that help is going to continue. And within the large stimulus package that we passed at the very end of March, $47 million in aid also went to helping support our national domestic violence hotlines and many of the nonprofits that do the work in advocacy for women and other victims in this country. But it is clear that even with these increases, that the demand is going to outstrip the resources that we have provided, and that the scope of the problem is going to range into the hundreds of millions of dollars. So what can we do? Civil society is the foundation upon which our entire system of domestic violence is built. Our legal system plays a role, but it's our civil institutions, our shelters, our victim advocates, and our advocacy organizations that help turn victims of domestic violence into survivors. And unfortunately, many of these organizations we rely on to maintain this safety net were operating at or near capacity before the pandemic hit. And now they're struggling to deal with the increase in demand and the shortage of resources. So we need help pushing for more federal government resources, help raising private funds, and help spreading the word that these organizations are still open and still available to victims. And moving forward, I think this pandemic has taught us many lessons about how we need to prepare for future global health crises, the systemic inequalities that need to be addressed in our society, and the desperate need to improve and strengthen our healthcare systems. But it's also taught us lessons that are not immediately apparent. And one of those is that we cannot take for granted some of the gains that we have made in addressing domestic violence. One example is that the Violence Against Women Act, that was a federal law passed in 1994, was allowed to expire by inaction of Congress last year. And victims around the country are now paying a price for Congress's inaction. Had we already acted, had we refunded this bill, there would be less guns in the hands of abusers, more focus on the aspect of online and internet abuse, and more resources to turn victims into survivors. So as this pandemic highlights some of the deep inequities of women and girls around the globe, our work must continue to build a culture that truly sees our common humanity, that values and empowers women economically, and creates educational opportunities for women and girls around the world. I so appreciate the opportunity today to share with you some of my perspectives on the effect of the pandemic in the United States on this very important issue of domestic violence. And I appreciate your work that all of you are doing every day to make sure that our communities remain inclusive and learn from these lessons and continue our work for a more just society and global culture. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your comprehensive review of the challenges that you are facing in the United States with regard to domestic violence, and for also to really resolve this, we do need to enhance human values, and we need to do more work in those areas other than the steps that you are already taking, that your government is taking. I would now like to invite the Honorable Fabiana Chines to please address us. She is former president of the National Institute of Women in Argentina, carrying out National Plan of Action to prevent, educate women, people about not having violence against women. May I request you please to make your address?
Podés empezar, Fabi.
Bueno, en primer lugar, muchas gracias por esta invitación y compartir este espacio de encuentro entre tan importantes mujeres que piensan fundamentalmente y pensamos en cómo cambiar el mundo, en hacerlo más igualitario y libre de toda forma de violencia.
First of all, thanks so much for this invitation and for being between all these important women that we are all thinking how to make this world better and without violence and free of violence.
En nuestro país, en el contexto del COVID-19, se ha reproducido, como en todo el mundo, estas situaciones de exacerbación de la violencia de género en el marco del aislamiento. La mujer...
As in every other country, coronavirus has enhanced the situation of making higher the situations of violence against women due to isolation.
De hecho, han aumentado la cantidad de femicidios en el marco de, nosotros llevamos desde el 20 de marzo un aislamiento obligatorio, donde ahí han aumentado los índices de femicidios. Para dar un panorama, en nuestro país hace muchos años que según los estudios,
since this last 20th of March, we are in Argentina in a compulsory lockdown, and our situation is that we have much more femicides.
Tenemos una mujer cada 29 horas asesinada por violencia de género, el extremo de la violencia de género.
One woman every 29 hours is being murdered in Argentina due to domestic violence.
Y en el contexto del coronavirus han aumentado las llamadas a la línea de asistencia y ayuda en un 40%. Y han aumentado las denuncias en un 30%, donde acá queda demostrado la magnitud del problema que genera el aislamiento obligatorio junto con el agresor.
To be in this compulsory lockdown together with the aggressor has made our problem much bigger. We have 40% more denounced calls in this period of time.
Entender la problemática de la violencia de género como un capítulo dentro de los derechos humanos y desde una perspectiva integral de la vida de las mujeres y transversal de la vida de las mujeres, creemos que es el desafío y la posibilidad de generar políticas públicas.
We are sure that to include domestic violence in our public policies and to be able to put it into the human rights issues are making us putting this into our agenda.
Entender que en estos tiempos, entender en forma integral la problemática de la violencia nos permite encontrar soluciones desde lo social, desde lo político, desde lo jurídico, desde lo psicológico. Es una multiplicidad de factores que tenemos que tener en cuenta a la hora de analizar esta problemática de la violencia hacia las mujeres.
There are so many factors that we have to deal. psychological, economical, all of these factors, we have to put them together to understand the situation of domestic violence and to bring solutions.
Acercar todos los dispositivos de ayuda es fundamental desde el concepto de que todas las mujeres sientan que no están solas y que hay toda una sociedad que las está acompañando en este momento.
To bring closer all the users, the apps, the dispositives, makes the women feel that they are less lonely and that all the society is helping them.
Por ejemplo, en Argentina, desde el año 2016, tenemos leyes que abordan a la mujer en forma integral desde antes de la pandemia. Por ejemplo, todo lo que tiene que ver con un plan estratégico de prevención y erradicación de la violencia de género.
In Argentina, since 2016, we are having laws that they are treating women in all the aspects for eradication and prevention of the domestic violence.
Un plan de igualdad de oportunidades y derechos.
We are having a plan of equal rights.
Y leyes específicas que abordan la problemática de la mujer en forma integral, como por ejemplo la ley de reparación económica para hijas e hijos víctimas de femicidio.
And we are having specific laws as financial reparation for the victims of the sons and daughters of femicides.
La ley que tiene que ver con la pérdida automática de la responsabilidad parental del feminicida condenado.
We have a law that is the loss of parental responsibility of the convicted perpetrator of a femicide.
Tenemos muchas más leyes que ya vienen generando una contención, pero fundamentalmente en estos momentos lo que se está reforzando es el concepto de cercanía con esa mujer y de facilitarle el acceso a la denuncia, facilitarle el acceso a todos los medios en los cuales las mujeres se pueden apoyar. Por ejemplo, las llamadas a la línea de asistencia a través de WhatsApp, las campañas que se van haciendo en cada una de las provincias de nuestro país, informando a las mujeres de cuáles son los derechos y en un trabajo articulado junto con la sociedad civil.
We have many other laws, but what we think is coming more important in this moment is to bring accessibility to all these women, to find that they can reach out and call through WhatsApp numbers, and that the whole society is coming close to these women and they feel supported.
Otra de las políticas que se llevan adelante, por ejemplo, en este momento se está pidiendo que sea el agresor el que sea expulsado del hogar y no sacar a la mujer de su hogar.
Another policies that we are working on is that the aggressor is the person that should be taken out of the home and not the woman.
Todas las medidas judiciales que existen para protección de las mujeres se han prorrogado en forma automática, o sea, todo lo que es la exclusión del hogar, todo lo que tiene que ver con tobilleras, con botones antipánico, automáticamente cuando empezó el aislamiento se han prorrogado en forma automática.
All these situations that we have a button for panic and all these devices has of course been multiplied during this lockdown.
Todas estas políticas públicas y muchas más que se están dando y se dieron a lo largo de todos estos años tiene como objetivo central entender la realidad de cada mujer en todos los ámbitos donde ella desarrolla su vida.
All these policies that we have been working throughout all these years has to take care of understanding the woman in all the aspects of their lives.
Y en ese sentido, lo que se logra fundamentalmente es la cercanía con esa mujer que no se sienta tan sola.
And what we need to find is that feeling close to that woman so that she doesn't feel so lonely.
Y hago hincapié en esto fundamentalmente porque el objetivo del violento, del agresor, es justamente dejarla aislada. Ya la estamos aislando por la enfermedad. El tema es decirle a esa mujer y transmitirle por todos los medios, a través de los medios de comunicación, a través de absolutamente todos los medios, que estamos con ella y que sabemos lo que le pasa.
And I really want to highlight this because the objective of the aggressor is to making feel the woman that she's lonely. And through this pandemic, we need to make sure that the woman feel that she is with us and that there are a lot of people around that will help her.
Las lecciones aprendidas que hemos tenido en Argentina es que desde el año 2016 la violencia de género y la igualdad son políticas de Estado y continúan siendo políticas de Estado transversales. En estos tiempos de más crisis, de más aislamiento, donde se potencia la violencia, es donde más tenemos que generar esta unión mundial, esta unión que nos une como sociedad para poder dar una respuesta integral a la problemática de la violencia.
And in these times, we need to find really solutions for this problematic of violence. Sorry, Fabiana, can you repeat once again?
Y fundamentalmente todo lo que hagamos a nivel de acciones mundiales son importantísimas para llegar a cada punto de nuestro planeta.
And everything that we do in these global measures are so important to reach out to all the places throughout the world.
En este momento, mientras se está produciendo esta conferencia, en algún lugar del mundo una mujer necesita ayuda, una mujer pierde la vida, todo un entorno afectivo cambia definitivamente. Por eso la acción es ahora, es ya y es juntas.
While this conference is being taking place, one woman is making a denunciation. One woman is being killed somewhere. So now the action has to be taken, and the action needs to take it. We need to take this action together.
No sé cuánto tiempo tengo, pero lo que quería decir para finalizar es que es fundamental lo que estamos haciendo desde Argentina, desde cada rincón de nuestro país, porque cuando salvamos a una, salvamos a todas. Cuando nos salvamos individualmente, nos salvamos colectivamente, y por cada mujer víctima de violencia de género que podemos ayudar, estamos empezando a cambiar el mundo.
How I want to end this talk today is to tell you that for one woman that we are saving all of us, and we need to do this to start helping and changing the world.
Gracias por esta oportunidad.
Thanks so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Fabiana, so much for your for sharing with us. While it is extremely distressing to know that there has been a 40% increase in distress calls and that one woman is dying every 29 hours because of domestic violence, we are encouraged by the steps that you and your country have taken to increase accessibility so that women do not feel isolated, and to make sure that it is not just societal, but policy and legislative interventions together that can help us through this terrible crisis that we are going through. I would now like to invite the Honorable Ms. Turid Elizabeth Solvang to please address us. She is the founder and CEO of Future Brands, a global expert in corporate governance, former chair of the European Confederation of Directors and Associations, co-founder of the European Women on Board, co-founder and former CEO of the Norwegian Institute of Directors. Ma'am, we look forward to your address.
Thank you very much. And first of all, thank you for inviting me to speak on this timely and hugely important topic. And since my scope of work is corporate boards and leadership, I would like to please allow me to share some of our reflections from the corporate perspective. So the positive effects for business and society of having more women in leadership positions are well documented. And that becomes even more evident in situations that we are facing now, when women seem to be paying an unproportionately higher price, that they should be represented in the decision-making positions. A recent example is how countries with female leaders have responded to the corona crisis. Among other measures, the Norwegian Prime Minister Erna Solberg had the innovative idea of using television to talk directly to our country's children, responding to the kids' questions from across the country and taking time to explain why it was okay to feel scared. It seems so obvious, but honestly, could you imagine Donald or Boris doing just that? And this is surely the time when good leaders stand out, including the corporate leaders. Another example from Norway is the media house Schibsted, that have set up a helpline during the lockdown for employees who are struggling mentally. And yes, the CEO is female. But however, long before the virus sent shockwaves through the business and society, global trends such as financial instability, geopolitical unrest, and climate change were deeply affecting the corporate world. And added on this digital disruption and increased scrutiny on the company's role in society, and a different picture was being painted for board of directors and leadership teams, their role, their work, and their composition. And this requires a shift of skills and mindsets among those leading companies that plan to survive in the 21st century. I call it the boardroom revolution. Thus, it is encouraging to observe that a growing number of investors and asset managers are on the move to improve the gender balance among the decision makers in the corporate world. However, progress remains too slow. Women and men worldwide, politicians and regulators, as well as large institutional investors, are getting impatient. The question why is off the table. The critical question to be asked now is how more women can take their seats around the boardroom tables and the top floor in business. What works and who should be in the driver's seat. In Norway, my home country, we chose a radical, much debated, highly controversial, but undoubtedly efficient route, by many dubbed the gender quota law. The amendment to the Public Limited Companies Act that was passed by the Norwegian Parliament a little more than a decade ago require boards of directors of publicly listed companies to comprise minimum 40% of either gender. Similar requirements apply to state-owned companies. And as we all know, legislation works. The Norwegian gender quota law proves well beyond doubt that if the goal is to change the gender composition of boards within a reasonable time frame, quotation followed by sanction is the most efficient instrument. And as a result of the law, Norway has the most gender-balanced board in the world, along with Iceland, which introduced similar legislation later. So I'm pleased to say that in Norway today, the law is generally regarded as uncontroversial. Gender quotas for boards of directors are taken for granted and are just not much of a topic for debate anymore. I'm very fortunate to live in a country like Norway, where equal rights for men and women are taken for granted, where women participate in the workforce on par with men, and where actually female students at universities outnumber and sometimes outperforms their fellow male students. This clearly and economically empowers us as women, which in turn leads to greater independence and financial security. So I'll keep on pushing for more women in decision-making positions in the corporate world for the benefit of women, business, and society at large. But thank you for letting me participate in this webinar, and I'm looking forward to continue working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for for what you have shared with us. I think it's a very important point that if you can financially empower women, then not just now during the lockdown, but afterwards also, if people are domestic violence, at least they know that they can stand on their own feet and have a way out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Professor Angela Laporte-Attah to please address us. She is the chairperson of the Psych Council and founder director of Psych program for National Service Psychology graduates. She is well known for her published literature and pilots culturally appropriate delivery in mental health. I request you to please address us, ma'am. Professor.
Well, thank you. I'm really honored to be in the company of so many distinguished women and our most reverend, revered host. Madam Chair, I think I was in the International Women's Conference in, would it have been in South Korea in 2000? No, yes, in about 2004, 2005, perhaps, I'm not sure, but it was an International Women's Conference, and I was very inspired by it. And I congratulate you on the choice of theme of looking at domestic violence in the day of COVID. I have to say that in Ghana, it isn't that we don't have a problem with domestic violence, it is that we don't have the statistics. And if we want to know the extent of the problem, we have to go and look at some of the studies, academic studies and so forth done. For example, we have one that says about a third of married women in a sample of 1,400 have reported domestic violence in their marriages. I think that's a fair proportion to say. But domestic violence is not only between men and women, as we know. It's unfortunately violence towards children as well. I think that it is WHO that at some point declared that we have an epidemic of domestic violence around the world and in Africa especially. But since we don't collect the numbers, we don't know the extent of the problem. And we have to we have to look at the prevailing socioeconomic factors to project whether it's going up or not. And we do believe that at this time, it is going up. We have been in a lockdown for 3 weeks. This coming Sunday will be the end of the third week. And to ease the economic pain, because the economic pain is likely to lead to extra violence, government has put in place many measures, both economic and medical measures. They're pretty much in line with what most of the world has done, except that Ghana took these decisions very quickly, and so has probably forestalled much of the spread of the virus. But I would like to concentrate more on domestic violence, as the distinguished panel has done. And I would like to take it from the perspective of psychological measures that we've done over the years, not just at this time. I'd like to say that, for example, we had a domestic violence law passed in, say, 2005 or 2006. Hotly debated, of course, for quite a while before it was finally passed, but it does exist. To back that law, we have had, or even before the law was passed, we've had police domestic violence units across the larger municipalities. And we have been involved in training sets of police, but you train them and then they get dispersed into the larger police force. And then you think perhaps their impact is not felt as much. But then the other side of it is that then they go and hopefully infect the others in different police forces. And I think those domestic units are working not at the level that we would like them to, but they exist. As well, there's been various training of doctors and healthcare professionals to recognize what constitutes physical domestic abuse on both women and children, to help with the examinations, to do the reports and refer back so that police prosecutions can proceed. And then there have been various radio shows and discussions on them, but they sort of have come in waves, come and gone. And I'm not sure that we're riding such a big wave of public awareness and discussion at this time. And it will take, say, a professional association of lawyers who have in the past been wonderful at raising awareness to bring it back on the table. It will take the Council of Psychologists and the Association of Psychologists and Lawyers and so on to bring these waves of increased violence to the fore. So I think moving forward, what we have done in the departments of psychiatry and amongst the councils is to have call centers for people to report domestic, not domestic abuse. We said psychological distress, anxieties related to the times of COVID. And I think that because we were blindsided in not saying domestic abuse, we have had very few reports of domestic abuse. We've had reports of anxieties, of depression, of relapses, but no reports of domestic abuse. And I think that that's because we have not gone out and said, come, let's talk about what's going on. So I think that one of the ways traditionally that we have a protective factor in our communities is the fact that we live in extended families. And so if there is a problem of domestic violence over and above what is accepted, and I'm sorry to say that there are many societies that believe in, not that they believe in, but allow a certain level of abuse. But when it goes beyond, then people step in. And so because we live in extended families like that, the level of excessive abuse is I believe it's not as much as it would otherwise have been. And then we have the traditional setup of the queen mothers and the chiefs where people can go and report in their communities to their elders and queens and kings and say, I can't live with this relationship anymore, or this is too excessive. So there is some kind of a conflict resolution mechanism and some authority within societies and communities where excessive abuse, as is recognized as abuse, is addressed. So these are some, small strengths within our traditional societies that help with conflict resolution. And then we have the faith-based organizations where people also have an outlet in reporting to their pastors and so forth. I know the problem with the community and sometimes the faith-based is the gender inequity, the way the relationships are looked at as the man being more superior than the woman and more important, whose face is to be saved more than the woman's face is to be saved. Those exist. And I think the work that we need to do as professionals is really bringing the gender equity to the fore and saying, look, maybe this level of tolerance is too much even, and that we need to say no to both the psychological distress, the psychological abuse, the emotional abuse, as well as the physical abuse. And I think that is the work that we need to do. Apart from that, I have to say that I'd like to mention that my mother was Ghana and Africa's first woman pilot, and this was in the 60s. And she was an Air Force pilot. So for us, we have had these amazing icons. We've had women writers, scientists, and so forth, right from the 50s and 40s. And this has translated, this has come about because of education, women being allowed or pushed through education, or being expected to be in education. And that has persisted. I think in today's Ghana, we probably have gender equality in the lower classroom, where all children come to, or most children come to class 1. But as we go towards, let's say, as we move into middle school and tertiary education, secondary tertiary education, the balance kind of changes, as with most countries. And I think there's work to be done there in the middle and tertiary places to bring about equality. And then finally, I think the municipal authorities will need a little bit of encouragement because they control the markets. Now, why do I mention the markets? Ghana's informal economy is 90% of the total economy. And so informal markets play a very important role. And women, they dominate in our markets. And yet our markets haven't been given the attention that they need, because it's the economic base of trading women. And so
Yes.
I think that would be the next step, where we focus on getting that economic empowerment to the next level, banking systems and legal systems that will help build the trade of women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, Professor, for sharing with us and for emphasizing that gender equality in education right from the beginning, extended families, faith-based organizations, traditions of the elders, joint families can all help to alleviate these problems. And now we have the honor and the privilege of an address from Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar. Gurudev, this discussion has highlighted some very disturbing aspects, and we look to you for guidance as to how we can end this.
Yes, this 1 hour of discussion on women's issue is very timely, and the millions today are watching us today live on Facebook, Instagram, and many social medias here. I'm sure the message would have gone to them loud and clear. Let me first congratulate our Honorable Minister, Smriti Irani. She is the most dynamic lady minister I have seen. Any department she takes, she goes all out. She works 24/7, and I should just congratulate her. She does everything with passion. Even when she speaks in our parliament, she does it with full passion and total logic. This is something that I think women can emulate from her, her delivery to the women folks. And I'm glad now she's from the industry. She was in textile minister. She has also taken women's welfare. I'm sure she would implement many of these things that the discussion is happening. Next, I would also like to mention here our dear Catherine Clark and her mother. I tell you, she was Judy Clark, was such a passionate lady. She has done so much work in America for the inmates of juvenile offenders, for prisoners, and she stood for non-violence. Both Miss Chandler Clark and Judy Clark were such a couple of, ideal. They always had ideals in their mind, and they worked towards bringing peace in society, and they were passionate to put an end to violence, and they have introduced meditation and other processes and exercises, counseling in prisons of America, where thousands and thousands got benefited. Also, I had to mention, Catherine knows that Judy Clark was very passionate about wisdom, and that wisdom, I think Catherine is bringing back to the society, and she's really standing for peace, democracy, women's rights. And all of you who have spoken here from Norway, we have covered almost the entire globe. We have people from Asia, from Europe, from Africa, South America, and this is a power-packed women's group here. I think your message will go loud and clear to many more women there to become more active. As the last speaker from Professor Angela said, many ladies will not even acknowledge that there is violence. They will simply take it as a matter of fact at home, or their families, joint family in the situation does not even allow them to complain. Many people do not complain. But what do we do in this situation? We need to see what is the root cause of aggression. Number one, there is insecurity, fear, and then stress. If a person is stressed, they don't behave normal. They don't even communicate with others normally. Their simple verbal communication will exhibit violence in it. So, what is that we can do to encourage non-violent communication? How we can engage people to look within and to have a balanced mind. This is what we need to look into it. And meditation is one way, one technique. Here I also would like to announce that Art of Living volunteers are doing so much work in this COVID-19 relief work here. There are poor people, for economic reason, they need food. And we are supplying food to hundreds and thousands of people. 42 million people, 4.2 crore people have been given food here in India. That is 42 million people are being given their daily food by the volunteers, the daily wage workers. And in America, just in the last 24 hours, our volunteers raised $100,000 and they gave 25,000 gowns, face masks, face shields, gloves, everything in New York to the New York hospitals for superheroes relief work. The COVID superheroes relief work, Art of Living volunteers have taken this up, and on top of this, we are giving psychological counseling and meditation. Meditation is something that calms down and removes the stress and strain that people are walking around with, and so they find inner peace. When a person finds inner peace, his behavior totally changes. His or her behavior changes, and they're able to communicate, they're able to understand others' point of view. So this we need to do, and there is abundant scientific research which has proved that meditation removes stress and it makes a person behave better. So let us, today we are joined in meditation by 100, how many countries? 4 million people are today right now waiting with us to join for meditation. We are just late by 8 minutes. So we will start a short meditation, and 20 minutes, 25 minutes meditation we'll do. And I have got millions of feedbacks that people are feeling so good. At home they feel energetic, free from anxiety, free from tension, anger and lust, greed and all these negative tendencies. So let us begin with the meditation, yeah? Shall we?
Gurudev, our president, Ms. Romila Sen, was going to.
Gurudev, we can.
Shall we do that after the meditation?
Yeah.
You have said it all, Gurudev.
We'll do meditation, and then you want to say vote of thanks?
No, Gurudev, there was a call to action. We had planned some steps going forward, what we suggest can be done, and Chinky was going to.
Yeah, what we will do is, now we will do the meditation, because it is getting late for people in the Far East now. Hong Kong, Singapore, it's very late for them, they are waiting. So let us do meditation 25 minutes, then we'll do the rest of it. Yeah. Let's sit comfortably, easily. And let's begin with shaking our hands. And let's stop shaking and sit with our spine erect. And let's fix our gaze at 30 degrees in front of us. Keep your gaze at 30 degrees in front of you. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Another deep breath in and breathe out. And let's close our eyes. Relax your whole body. Your body is a precious gift to you from nature. Let us honor our own body. Our body has billions and trillions of cells. Another deep breath in, and as you breathe out, relax your shoulders and your arms. Incoming breath energizes the body, and outgoing breath brings relaxation. Let us become familiar with this phenomenon. Breathe in and breathe out and relax your shoulders. Let's keep a big smile on our face. Breathe in with a smile and breathe out with a smile. As we smile, all the muscles in our face gets relaxed. Let us become aware of the air that is all around us and inside of us. Like fish in the water, we are in air. Our body is like the wick of a candle. Our mind is like the glow all around it. Let's take our attention to in between the eyebrows. A gentle attention in between the eyebrows. The pituitary and pineal glands are right there. दोनों भुवों के बीच में ध्यान रखें। शरीर को ढीला छोड़ दें। भोले भाव से रखें, बहुत जोर नहीं करना है। फिर एक गहरी सांस लें और धीरे धीरे सांस छोड़ें। Let us become aware of the space all around our head. And let's also become aware of a tiny dot right in the middle of our head. सिर के बीचों बीच एक बिंदु, एक छोटी सी अणु को पहचाने और सिर के चारों ओर जो खाली जगह है उस पर भी ध्यान रखें। Another deep breath in, एक और गहरी सांस लीजिए और धीरे धीरे छोड़िए। Breathe in and breathe out. Relax your whole body. सब प्रयत्न छोड़ दें. Let go of all your efforts. Become aware of the walls in your room and the space in the entire room you are sitting. जहाँ भी आप हो वहाँ का पूरे जगह पर अपना मन को फैलाइए. दीवार और छत के बीच की जगह को स्मरण करें. अब सब प्रयत्न छोड़ दें. लेट गो ऑफ ऑल योर एफर्ट. Let go of all your effort. There's nothing to do now. Just listen to some bell and conch sound and just let go. सब प्रयत्न छोड़ दें. विश्राम करें. ना कुछ करना है ना ही कुछ जानना है इस वक्त. This moment there is nothing to do and nothing to know either. Just let go. Allow our mind to expand more and more. Our mind is subtler than water, subtler than air. So it flows, it spreads. Just let it happen. Let go of all your efforts. And with a big smile, repose in yourself. As the mind expands, as your attention expands, body relaxes. And as you relax your body, your mind expands Just let go of all your efforts. This moment, nothing to do and nothing to know either. Repose in yourself. अपने आप में विश्राम करें. Have a big smile on your face and breathe in with a smile. मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते गहरी सांस लीजिए. And breathe out with a smile. मुस्कान के साथ सांस छोड़िए. Let the smile percolate to your whole body. Let the smile percolate to the back of the head. ऐसे भाव करें आपका मुस्कान शरीर के पीछे भी, सिर के पीछे भी हो रही. सिर का पीछे का हिस्सा भी मुस्कुरा रहा हो. ऐसे भाव करें. As though every cell in your brain is smiling. The back of your head is smiling. And let the smile descend down to your throat. Feel as though your throat is all smiling. The body is relaxing more and more. Whatever thoughts are coming in the mind, just let them come. Any tension you feel anywhere in the body, just let it be. Just let it be. उसको रहने दें. कहीं कोई टेंशन है, तनाव लग रहा है, उसको रहने दीजिए. Let it be. आज्ञा चक्र से पूरा शरीर संचालित होता है. The eyebrow center is an important center where pituitary and pineal glands are, and they control our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Relax more and more. Let go of all your effort and just let be, let it be. Whatever is there now, just let it be. Any tension, we just let it be. Another deep breath in, and as we breathe out, relax your body even more. गहरी सांस लीजिए और सांस छोड़ते वक्त और विश्राम करें. किसी भी तरह की तनाव हो उसको मिटाने की चेष्टा न करें, उसको रहने दें, वे अपने आप मिट जाएंगे, अपने आप निकल जाएंगे। They'll go by themselves. विशाल आकाश भी आप हो और छोटी सी छोटे अणु से भी छोटे अणु आप हो। गहरी सांस लीजिए और छोड़ दें। Become aware of the vast space around you and the tiny atoms simultaneously. And just let go and relax. Let go all your efforts and relax more and more. Let the sound of the bell and the conch reverberate in the space. The sound energizes us. फिर एक गहरी सांस लीजिए और धीरे धीरे सांस छोड़ दें. Let's take another deep breath in with a big smile. And breathe out and relax. Become aware of your body and surroundings, and slowly and gradually we may open our eyes. धीरे धीरे आंखें खोल सकते हैं. Slowly and gradually we can open our eyes. That's good. Yeah. Chinky, you can go ahead. Hope you all enjoyed the meditation. It was 22 minutes. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much, Gurudev, for the meditation and also your remarks about and your wisdom. And thank you so much to all our eminent panelists sharing their remarks and sharing their perspectives about this alarming issue of domestic violence. We at the Art of Living, all your calls to action was so inspiring. And we at the Art of Living and with Gurudev's network in 156 countries, we are available to assist you and collaborate with you in every way to implement these calls to action. So let us take this conversation offline, let us speak more and communicate with each other more regarding how we can mitigate this issue of domestic violence with the time tested techniques that we have realized of yoga, meditation, breathing techniques, which we as an organization can bring to the table. So I really look forward to taking this conversation offline and keeping in touch with all of you. And once again, thank you so much for being a part of this wonderful interaction and being with us here today. Thank you, Gurudev. Thank you, Banu Didi, and all our eminent speakers. Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you for your invaluable views with us, and to the viewership that we've had, to all those who've watched this